ladies of the Dabbleverse. I'm good at eating pussies.
Mumbling Nick in the back room, Clary. Cool pineapple holes, too straight to bear. If the Z said kick, you've got some flair. Time to break the chains and take the air. I will try my best, won't let it rest. With a mic in hand, I'll ace this test. From the shadows to the limelight's crest, I will try my best. Yeah, I'll try my best. Yeah, I'll try my best. Nick's voice stumbles, but the words ignite. In the chaos, truth takes flight. No more scripts, no boss in sight. He's got his dream, he'll do it right. I will try my best, won't let it rest. With a mic in hand, I'll ace this test. From the shadows to the limelight's crest, I will try my best. Yeah, I'll try my best. Yeah, I'll try my best. Nick's voice stumbles, but the words ignite. In the chaos, truth takes flight. No more scripts, no boss in sight. He's got his dream, he'll do it right. I will try my best, won't let it rest. With a mic in hand, I'll ace this test. From the shadows to the limelight's crest, I will try my best. Yeah, I'll try my best. Interviews roll, stories unfold. Mumbling no more, his voice turns bold. Mr. C cheers from the sidelines cold. Pickle pineapple left in the cold. Now the studio's his, the future bright. Nick's own podcast is guiding light. No more whispers, his tone takes flight. He's soaring now with all his might. Yeah!
Taz, if you want me to go down on you, I will. I'll try my best. I will, Taz. I will try my best. What's going on, guys? I am OG Mumbling Nick, and this is a one-off special on celebrating 14 years of sobriety for me. I'm not really here to celebrate, but let's just say last year I didn't really have a channel. I was making like videos. I wasn't going live. I was just making videos because I was having like an issue with Stuttering John and a certain baseball player, and Clay was involved and all that shit. But literally like a day or two before I got doxxed by John, I made a video, I think, like kind of telling my story or whatever. And, then I just released the video, and then I had to leave the Dabbleverse for like months or whatever. So, but even doing that, I heard from a few people, that were also struggling and stuff like that, or just to congratulate me, or someone that had struggled and now they're sober and all that stuff. So, I don't know. The fact I heard from a few people last year when I didn't even have a channel, I figured maybe this year I'll just go live and, might help a couple more people. It's always worth it. If you can help just one person, it's definitely worth it. What's going on, Def? Good to see you. Spurgy. Yay to sobriety, everybody. All right. Thank you, anyone that shows up to this, because number one, I only announced it the other day. I didn't announce it at all today. I originally had it set for like 9 p.m. and I pushed it back several times. Without getting too much into it, I think some of I know Def knows, and some other knows that I've been dealing with some health issues with my heart, my pulse, blood pressure, stuff like that. I met with the cardiologist yesterday, and now I have like 5 more specialist appointments set up. But he did put me on some medication yesterday, and it's kind of kicking my ass. So, it kind of makes me feel like groggy and, kind of fatigued and foggy headed and stuff. So I wasn't even sure if I was going to do this because I kept pushing it off because I just didn't feel up to it, but I at least want to give it a go. So I apologize. This probably isn't going to be my, not what you want to hear right starting the show, but this probably isn't going to be my biggest most peppiest fucking, show or whatever, but I figure, I'll just tell my story, and if anyone has any questions, you can ask. If not, totally fine too. But someone might get something out of my story because let's face it. Like I was supposed to do something with Joey C on this several times. It never happened. I thought it'd be good for Joey and I because I think our stories are going to be vastly different. Like Joey has these crazy off the wall stories, so the average addict might not be able to relate. Where they might be able to relate to mine because I was what they call the functioning addict. Like I literally worked the whole time. I was addicted for about 8 years to opiates, and I actually had two jobs the whole time. But I still did a bunch of fucked up shit. There's gonna be a overdose story in there. There's gonna be stuff like that. I'm probably not gonna tell everything because I don't know if any. Sometimes my youngest kid watches some of this, so there's just certain things I don't want. I'll tell him when he's like 18 or something. But so there might be a few things I leave out. Unfortunately, some of the spicier things, but there'll still be a lot in there. So thank you. Thank you, Delta Zero. Appreciate it. Thank you, Vagina Wrinkle, for showing up. So yeah, as I said, for those of you just got here, I apologize for putting this off multiple times today. I just got put on a new medication yesterday to lower my heart rate and pulse and stuff like that. And so it lowers other things too, like it lowers my adrenaline, and I'm kind of like I said, fatigued and foggy headed, and I don't know. I'll try and pick up the pep. I apologize. Fuck it. Come on, let's go. How ironic! It's my 14th episode, 14 years sober, and something I'm prescribed to take has got me all fucking. Ugh. All right. Anyway, fuck it. Let's just start. Let's start at the beginning, I guess. What do we got? New heart medication always suck. Yeah, I'm hoping I get used to this liquid. I was like, even when I first started taking blood pressure medication a while back, the first few days weren't too great. This is kicking my ass way worse. This heart medication is kicking my ass way worse than the blood pressure meds. But um, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, hopefully I'll get used to it. If not, I'll try and take it at night maybe, so I can sleep off a bunch of it. Anyway, yeah. What do we got here? At least you're not getting the. That's true. I am not getting the runs. I am not getting the runs. So I don't know. It sucks. If I took it early in the morning, I might be okay by now too. So here's what happened. Like I had the appointment yesterday morning, like 8:30 in the morning. So by the time I got the medicine, it was around noontime. So I took it at noontime yesterday. So I wanted to take it roughly around noontime today. I ended up taking it like 1:30. And if I took it like first thing in the morning, I'd probably be okay right now. But even though, it's been like 10 hours since I've taken it, or 9 hours, whatever it's been. And yeah, still feel not as bad. I was feeling worse a couple hours ago, but anyway, fuck it. Nobody wants to hear that. All right. So I come from a family of addicts on my father's side. My mother's side, not so much at all. They're more like goody goodies. They actually like to gamble. My father's side likes the drugs and alcohol. I ended up with the drugs and alcohol gene. Couldn't care less about gambling. Um, in fact, my siblings and I, when we turned 21, each of us, I'm the oldest. Our grandparents would try and take us to Mohegan Sun, which is a casino in Connecticut, and I was the only one that wasn't interested. They ended up just giving me the cash they were going to give me to spend on the gambling because I couldn't care less. But unfortunately, I got the addiction gene. Ironically, not really alcohol. My father, my late father, it would have been his birthday 2 days ago. He would have been 70, but he passed away at 57. Obviously, some years back from pancreatic cancer. But he drank every day. He smoked cigarettes. I've told the story. Physically, I shouldn't say this because it's still insulting. There's a resemblance between my dad and Stuttering John. They were like roughly. My dad was like 5'8", It's funny. My mother's 5'1". My father was 5'8". I'm 6 feet. My brother's 5'11". It makes none of it makes any sense. Um, but yeah, my dad had a similar build to John. My dad drank Bush Light, drank beer every day like John. My father's name was John. um, the only difference is my dad didn't smoke marijuana. My dad didn't have all the other disgusting things like John has. My dad didn't have bloody hemorrhoids, didn't have fucking mucus running everywhere, didn't have any of that shit. But the drinking the beer and all that shit, that's what my dad did. Um, I liked beer. I drank socially. I never drank as an addict. I got addicted to the pain pills, and not right away. I started off as like more of a partier. I liked ecstasy. I do that like Thursday, Friday, whatever. Went through an ecstasy phase. I went through a cocaine phase. Used to do that on the weekends. Wouldn't dare do that now with my heart issues, but yeah, I started off as a partier, and I wouldn't do the shit during the week. During the week, I might have a couple beers because I used to landscape full time. So used to come home like shower, take a beer in the shower, but I just have a couple beers a night, like two, three. Wasn't a big drinker, and so yeah, for years I landscaped. I would landscape spring, summer, fall, and then in the winter I would actually do concrete work briefly, which sucked. So I was pretty much beating up my body. This is my early 20s, and when I was 14, I skipped this part, I guess. When I was 14, I got hit by a car uh, by two 17-year-olds on their way to see Guns N' Roses, Metallica, and Faith No More in concert. And anyway, I was trying to cross the street. They were driving. I jumped. The front of the car literally hit both my ankles, and I landed on the hood. And while I was on the hood, they drove through a fucking fence and then flung me off. So both my ankles ended up pretty messed up. The left one just had like a really bad laceration. The right one was broken, and I had to have surgery on ligaments or tendons or both. I can't remember. I was in the hospital for like 5 days. So my right ankle is fucked. My right knee has also had surgery for broken cartilage because my shin bones are like crooked. They're bowed. So yeah, so like all it's weird. Like the pressure is all like the inside of my knees and my ankles. So uh surgery in the right knee, surgery in the right ankle, fucking right leg, all fucked up. So landscaping and doing concrete work, I was in pain. Like legit pain. And I had a loved one at the time who we thought they meant well, and they had something called tramadol, which was supposed to be like an alternative to like Vicodin, or it was like synthetic Vicodin, synthetic Percocet, something like that. And they also had this person also had muscle relaxers because they had a really bad back. So one day I was in pain, landscaping, and they gave me a couple, and it really helped me get through the day. And Faith No More. And yeah, so off and on they would give it to me here and there, and it would just, like I said, it would really help with the pain and help me get through the day and give you a little energy. And unfortunately, I discovered at the time you could get tramadol online pretty easily if you're willing to pay. There would be, still by prescription. So you go to these websites and they give you a questionnaire, like what you needed it for, this and that. And of course, you know how to answer the questions on a scale of 1 to 10. How's your pain? Blah, blah, this and that. And then it was reviewed by a doctor online, and they would write you the script and literally mail it to you. You could literally overnight it and get it the next day. And that's how that all started. I was in pain, and instead of going to my own doctor, whatever, I ordered this shit online after a loved one was giving me some, and started taking it pretty much like every day. And then I remember getting ready to go on a little vacation, long weekend with the wife, and we had two young boys at the time. Didn't have our youngest yet. What's up, Sam Bibley? And I decided, I'm going on vacation. It was like a Friday. I'm like, I'm not taking the tram at all today. I'm not landscaping. No need, because I would literally landscape like 7 days a week unless I took a day off or it rained or whatever. And as we're packing up the car, so we're going up from Massachusetts up to New Hampshire to go camping, and was dragging ass. I felt like shit, and I didn't know why. I didn't know if I was getting the fucking flu. I didn't know blah blah blah, and just did not feel right. And I don't know, about halfway up in the car ride, I was like, oh, I was like, I don't know, maybe Tramadol will make me feel better. And boom, made me feel fine. And that's when I realized, holy shit, I was having withdrawals. Like that was the first time I didn't know it. And trust me, those withdrawals were nothing compared to what withdrawals, a year later were like. This was very early withdrawals, and you felt you were kind of achy, you felt kind of bleh. And what sucked, I wish I had known if I just didn't take Tramadol for a couple of days, I probably would have been fine. Um, but I just kept taking it. I wanted to get through that little vacation, and so I did. And then from then on, I was addicted. I was taking it every day, and probably about a year in, I remember there was I couldn't get it. I had ordered some, they didn't send it. There was a hang up, so I went like 5 days without it, and it got all out of my system, and I felt fine. And right after that, it fucking arrived in the mail. And I wish I had thrown it out, but I convinced myself, I'll just take as needed. And of course I didn't, and I ended up every day. So for a while, I was literally hooked on Tramadol of all things. It's actually become a big thing. They supposedly thought it wasn't going to be as addictive. It is. You get the withdrawals. There are certain countries in the world where they have like literally Tramadol epidemics. Like that's what the people are addicted to. So I see Metal might have a question. I'm curious, when you were on opioid, did you have different sleep pattern? Uh, yeah, you sort of, hmm. I mean, I would sleep all right. I mean, sometimes I think it was harder to get up. I mean, when you're addicted and you take it, like as I'm gonna get to pretty soon. I don't know if you know this or not, Metal, but some people may not realize when you're like fully addicted, you get to a point where you're taking the drug just so you don't feel sick. You're not even feeling high anymore. You just don't want to feel sick, and which sucks. You're paying all this money to feel normal. Sure, when you first take it, the first hour, maybe you feel a little something, not even close to what you felt way back when you first started taking it. But maybe like what drinking like a good coffee, you might get a little more pep for like that first hour, and that's about it. And then you start feeling like normal, and then as it starts wearing off, you're like, oh Jesus, and you start to live your life around it. Like when you don't have it, it's really hard to sleep. I can tell you that. You get like restless leg syndrome. Like it's hard to explain, but you're pretty much playing kung fu with the fucking sheets and the blanket. You can't stop moving your legs. Like if you just try and sit there and lie, your legs, I don't know, they get this fucking feeling where you gotta fucking move them. You get the sweats. Uh, you feel achy. It's like time moves so fucking slow too. Like I'll even tell you during the Tramadol days, like this is as the story goes, this is gonna develop. Tramadol was just the first few years, and then I moved on to like Percocets, morphine, um, all that oxys, all that good stuff. But during the Tramadol days, I got that from I ordered it from companies, so FedEx would bring it. I mean, I got to know the FedEx driver. That guy would come multiple times a month. You know what I mean? And I think he knew what he was bringing me after a while, but it was what it was. We almost became like friends. But, there were times where whenever I could, I would try and get overnight express like in the morning. So it'd be there by 10:30 a.m. So, I mean, you can't, and there were so many times where I was out, so I'm waiting. I would literally go to work late because I had to wait to get this shit. I was supposed to be at work at like 7 back then. And I'm going to work sometimes like 10, 11 o'clock, depending when I'm getting this shit. Um, I'm very lucky I did not lose either job. Part of it was I was a very good worker, but part of it was I had good bosses, obviously. They kind of, they kind of helped me when I was trying to get, when I went to get sober and everything. Um, but yeah, time would move so slow. Like I'd have so much trouble sleeping that night before. You like I said, you're kicking the sheets, you're sweating. It feels nauseous a little bit. Like, yeah, all right. In the morning when I would get up and to brush my teeth, I would almost throw up. Like I would like dry heave because just the toothbrush getting anywhere near the back of my throat, I'd be like, oh, because I didn't have anything in my system. Um, and I know that FedEx truck is coming, and it's like from like 5 a.m. to like 10 a.m. when it would come, that 5 hours, that would feel like fucking 3 days. It was like, come on, when's this fucking coming? And you're just staring out the window because you don't want to miss the like that shit had to be signed for because it was prescription drugs. So you didn't want to, they wouldn't just leave that. So you had to make sure you were there to fucking answer the door and sign for it and shit. Um, Let me see. Oops, sorry. Skipping some comments. Let me get on there. So I'm an expert on the intersection of cardiovascular disease and opioid use disorder. This is a great conversation. Thank you, Madam. Dude, that's very interesting because my study prioritized neurodegenerative disorder and circadian rhythm disruption at the intersection of opioid use disorder and cardiovascular disease. Jesus, dude, you're too smart for me, bro. That's fucking crazy. Uh, but yeah, so I can tell you, like, when you're on it, you sleep fine. You know what I mean? If you took more than usual, sometimes you might have some weird dreams. When you're going with through withdrawals, you hardly slept, but when you did, you had vivid dreams. You would sleep like these little spurts, and you would get these fucking weird, vivid fucking dreams that sucked. And you look up and you slept like 12 minutes, and you're like, and like that's it. Sometimes I'd get up and go in the shower because the water would feel a little better. You wouldn't feel great, but you feel a little better. I remember going through withdrawals like sucking on hard candy because supposedly sugar would help and stuff like that. Um, I mean, when I get into it, I got a bunch of withdrawal stories. Like fucking, I'm trying to get sober. All right, here's one. Like just randomly throw it there. I was playing co-ed softball at the time, and I was having a lot of fun doing it. I remember there was a time, one of the times I tried getting sober on my own, and this was off the tramadol before I moved on to the other stuff. And I'm a few days in, and I'm trying to play a double header in softball, and I remember I hit a slow ground ball down the third baseline because I'm feeling weak. And I tried running as fast as I could the first, and it took forever. And literally, remember my brother and my friend Nick, same name as me, they knew what I was going through, and they were like, "Dude, it looked like you were running in fucking quicksand, like slow motion." Like I'm trying to run as fast as I can, and my legs just wouldn't fucking move. So, um, yeah, the withdrawals suck. Like I said, you end up running your life around this stuff. Like maybe you get some birthday party coming up like in 2 weeks, and you're like, oof, I hope I have pills that because I never had enough for every day. So there are always going to be days where I had to suck it up and feel like shit. And I never wanted that to be like a day, like a family cookout or a kid's birthday party or something like that. That shit, I was hoping to have something just so I could get through it, without being miserable. Um, but it's tough because, like, suppose the party's Saturday and you get just enough for Friday, you can't hold it. You'll convince yourself I'll be able to get something for tomorrow, and then you can't, and then you're fucked. So yeah, that shit would happen a lot. So I probably didn't really answer your question, but um, when I was using, I probably stayed up later than when I wasn't. But I'd sleep fine, and maybe sometimes oversleep. You sleep well when you're on it. You don't sleep well at all when you didn't have it. Um, even if you did have it, but you didn't take as much as you usually do, you'd still feel some withdrawals, and you'd have trouble sleeping. So anyway, I went a few years with the tramadol, ordering it, always ordering it online. Fucking FedEx would bring it, UPS would bring it. I even had it delivered to work sometimes because I would do the people in shipping and receiving, which was fucking crazy looking back that I did that. And yeah, very lucky. I worked for a big tech company. It's technically a different company than I work for now, only because the company I worked for was bought out by another company, but still relatively the same type of work. I worked in a different department back then and everything, but similar job. I landscaped full time when I first started doing. No, I was landscaping part time when I started doing it. I still do that. I haven't done much this year just because of the health issues, but um, yeah. So I'd be landscaping like crazy, and a lot of that money went to buying this shit because you took more and more and more, and you start off taking like 2 or 3 pills, and then before you know it, you're up to like 30 in a fucking day, which is fucking crazy. Um, and I got to the point where one day I call it an overdose. I don't know if it's technically an overdose. I had blacked out and had a seizure. So obviously I took too much. I just don't want you to think I mean overdose like, Pulp Fiction overdose. It wasn't one of those. But I was home. Um, I was in a bad place. I just kept taking more and more. I don't know why. I was fucked up. Um, because like I said, you take them to feel normal, and I didn't, and I wanted to feel not normal. So I kept taking more and more, and I kept blacking out. Like I was walking, like I'd be in my living room. Next thing I know, I'm in my bedroom, and I don't remember how the fuck I got there. Then I'm in one of my son's bedrooms. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing in there. Um, so yeah, I was blacking out, walking from room to room, and next thing I know, I hear strangers talking. I hear sirens, and I finally come out of it and realize I'm in an ambulance. And I asked one of the paramedics, I'm like, "Did something happen to me?" And he's like, "Yeah, you had a seizure." And so I had a seizure. My oldest went and got my wife, his mother. As a young kid, he was smart. He was telling my wife we should grab my tongue, whatever. I was, I don't know, convulsing, and I don't remember any of this. And I guess by the time the paramedics got there, I had stopped, or I was just stopping when they got there. Um, and then I was uncooperative. I don't remember any of this. For some reason, they tried to like put like an IV or something in me, like still in the house in the living room, like put me on the gurney. And I think they're trying to put like an IV in me right there, and I ripped it out of my hand and literally got up, went over and sat on my bed, and they had to like bring me back. And as I said, I don't remember any of this. So got to the hospital. Uh, I was literally able to talk my way out of there within a day. I told the guy, yeah, I convinced the doctor I had an allergic reaction to tramadol because one of the side effects when you're allergic is you have a seizure. And I didn't tell him I took like fucking 30 of them, whatever the 32, whatever the hell I took. I made it look like I took, a few. And it was the city where they're used to like they used to like heroin overdoses. So yeah, they just let me go like the next day. Like I convinced them. I'm like, yeah, I won't take it anymore. It was an accident. It was just a allergic reaction. Let me see here. Hey Carla, what were your anxiety levels at the time? Any history of panic attacks? So all right, here's what's funny. I don't really get like I'm not gonna say I was never depressed. I would get like depressed, but I was because I would have something to be depressed about. I wasn't someone that just naturally had depression. Anxiety, this is what's funny with me and my wife. I don't want to get too personal with my wife's information, but um she is very social. She's an extrovert. She blah 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 blah. She'll talk your ear off, but she has anxiety. Like she'll worry about what you think of her. You know what I mean? Um, Stuff like that. So she has like anxiety. I'm more of an introvert. I'm a quiet person, but I don't have anxiety. Like I don't really give a shit what people think of me. So I don't really have anxiety. If you're asking like because I said I was just kept taking these pills and I was having a bad night. It was more like the addiction put me in a bad place. I'm thinking about all the money I'm spending on these fucking pills. Like I said, I had a wife. I had 2 kids at the time. I'm working crazy hours, so I'm working my ass off. But the second job I have, I'm pretty much wasting all that money on pills, which is a very guilt-ridden thing. Um, and yeah, I just didn't know how to get out of it at the time. I would try, I would try and get sober myself. Um, I said early on, like in the first year of addiction, I did briefly get sober because I went like 5 days where I just couldn't get anything. And after those 5 days, I started to feel normal. Now, that was like a year, maybe even less than a year into my addiction. As my addiction went on, 5 days was nothing. If you went 5 days being sober, I still felt like shit. But back then, after 5 days, I felt pretty normal, and I wish I just stopped, but I didn't, because after the 5 days, those pills arrived, and I took them. But no, ironically, I wasn't never much of an anxiety person, but there has to be something there. I truly believe there's, I've heard doctors or psychologists talk about this, that the quote unquote like addiction gene, like there's something missing. Like, um, I before I got addicted, like I said, I used to do like party drugs just on the weekends, but I would try things like these news stories would come out like kids are drinking NyQuil or Dayquil during the day to get buzzed. So I would do that. Whatever like the big warning thing was, I would do. I was always looking for something. Like there was something off. Like I didn't like just being normal and sober. It just didn't feel right. So obviously there was something off that I was trying to self-medicate. Is the term, I guess. And yeah, it started off with actual pain, but um then I got to the point where I was taking it on days where my knees and ankle weren't bothering me that much. I was still taking it because I was self-medicating. Something wrong in my head. I wouldn't call it anxiety, but it's something. Um, yeah, I don't know what it was called, but very good question, Carla. Thank you for that. Um, yeah, I wish I knew what to call it. I've never had a panic attack. To my knowledge, I heard if I had, I would know. So, I've had moments where, you know, I don't I don't know where I don't feel right, but I don't think it was like a full blown panic attack or anything. Um, hey Chris, thank you very much. Thanks for coming, man. Love you too, buddy. Uh, yeah. So, I like I said, I came to in the ambulance. After the seizure and talked my way out of it. Do you think that would have been a wake up call? Because that was one of 2 times I ever saw my father cry. When he showed up in the hospital, something like, they just got a call that, hey, Nick's having a seizure or something. So, the only other time I saw my dad cry is when his father died. His father actually committed suicide, my grandfather. And since my grandfather committed suicide, he left envelopes for each kid. He had 5 kids, and inside one of my dad's envelope, it was a big manila envelope, so it was, not like a little envelope. And there was like some Father's Day card my father made his dad, like in first grade. Why I love my dad. So my dad started crying, when he saw that and shit. So that was one time, and then the other time was during my overdose. My grandparents were clearly, I clearly made my family upset. and still didn't stop me. I felt awful about it, but it's tough. Do you take GABA powder? I don't know what that is. Like gabapentin? Is that what you're talking about for like nerve damage? Uh, I don't take gabapentin. I don't know what GABA powder is, but I don't. Whatever it is, I don't think I take it. The only thing I take right now is I take blood pressure medicine and heart medicine that I literally on day 2 of, so that's new for me. Well, the heart medicine is it's a beta blocker because my heart is beating too fast. My pulse is too high, my blood pressure is too high, so this is supposed to like block the adrenaline, slow down my heart and all that stuff. But yeah, that's all I take. I don't even take like I used to take like ibuprofen on a regular basis, but I stopped that because I don't think that was good for my blood pressure. But that was with my bad knee and ankle, they swell up all the time. So I used to take shit like that regularly. But nope, no Gabo powder for me, whatever it is. um, yeah, and what's funny in high school, I never really liked to smoke, so I didn't really smoke a lot of weed because I never really cared for it. In high school, I mostly just drank beers, shots, Special K, ketamine came around when I was in high school. I did that, didn't care for it. Um, did acid in high school. It was fun, but you had to be in the mood for it. Acid and mushrooms. Um, really, ecstasy was the first party drug I really liked because it was really good ecstasy when I was in my early 20s. Not like the shit that they have now, or I don't know what they have now, but whatever. I haven't done ecstasy in like 15 years or something, but even back then it wasn't good when I was in my 30s. And I remember when I first did coke, I didn't like it, but only because I found out I had shit. I had stepped on coke, and when I had a coworker that could get fish scale, shit was fucking diesel, so that was fun. Um, but yeah, as I said, that was the party drugs, and didn't really get into the opiates until I was having all these pains from working. But as I said, there was always something. The gene was always there because I was always experimenting. Um. Anyway, after that, I went back home from the hospital. Just picked up right where I left off with the tramadol, and eventually I started not to like how I felt on tramadol. I was damned if I did, damned if I didn't, because if I didn't take it, I was gonna be dope sick, going through withdrawals. And even when I did take it, I didn't like how it made me feel anymore. It was very weird the way it made me feel. It kept changing. I liked it, really liked it at first. Obviously, I started not to like it because I started taking so much of it because I didn't like how I was feeling on just the regular amount. And then I just started not to like it at all. So I was trying to get off at this and that. And then when you live in the city, fortunately, there's plenty of options. So I ended up, with all sorts of dealers, but I had three main dealers that I ended up finding, all middle aged or older women, which was ironic. Let me just look at metal real quick before I move on. Well, it's just a supplement that might help with drug induced seizures. Of course, I'm skeptical of all the supplements, but you might want to try it. But of course, consult your doctor first. All right. Thank you, Metal. Hopefully that's a one off. I had that seizure, I believe it was 2006, maybe. I believe my seizure was whenever Hurricane Katrina was. Was that 2006? I'm trying to remember. Um, because I remember that's what was on the TV, like in the hospital, was the Katrina coverage. I yeah, I first got addicted. I was addicted from like 2003 to 2011. So that would have been about 3 years in, and that was getting close to my end of my tramadol days before I moved on. What's going on, Matt? But yeah, that was the only time I ever had a seizure, and I can tell you I took a shit ton of pills. So I think it was hopefully just a one off. But thank you for that information, Metal Metal. Um, so yeah, like I said, I started to hate how the tramadol made me feel, and I found this old couple on my street, and they had Percocets, 15 milligram green ones with no Tylenol. So they were these little fucking things. Could swallow them if you wanted. Could snort them if you crush them up and snort them if you wanted, because they weren't the big ones with the fucking Tylenol. They sold those. There was another woman lived right around the corner from me who sold Percocets, 10 milligrams, and morphine, like 80 milligram morphine fucking things. I actually wasn't a huge fan of the morphine, but I would take it when that's all she had, and that's all I could get. Um, and then I had a third dealer who, the woman was a crack addict, but she used to get a fat prescription of Percocet that she would sell all to me. And she trusted, I was one of the most trustworthy drug addicts there were. She knew I got paid bi-weekly. She knew what Friday I got paid. She knew my pay schedule. And it got to the point after a while where she'd be like, "Hey, Nick, I know you don't get paid till this coming Friday, but I got 30 Percocets. I'll give them to you. Pay me on Friday." Of course, I take them and literally come every Friday. It's like I would owe a bunch of my paycheck already, and then I would have to get more. So yeah, it was rough. But yeah, those are my three main dealers. My buddy Nick could also get Perk 30s, the blues. If he couldn't get stuff, I could get stuff. Because we all had swapping dealers. There's also this other couple that had oxycontin. Um, I'd get those. Um, they were, I think they have the 60s or the 80s. They had some big ones. Oxy was big in the Boston area, so yeah, I started doing all that stuff, and oh, that went on for years. Like the tramadol was three 3 years, maybe four, and then the other 4 or 5 years were all that shit. Was Oxy, was Percocet, was so it was Oxy, Percocet, and the morphine. And every once in a while somebody would have fucking, you'd find all these one-offs. You find this shit when you're an addict. Someone would have like what's it called? I didn't really care for it too much. Vicodin. Someone would have Vicodin. I'd get that if I was hard up. But yeah, shit's fucking expensive, man. Hey, what's up, Peepsy? Congrats. About 9 years clean here, Suboxone. Yeah, I'll get to that. Suboxone helped me too. I know it gets a bad rap for some people, but if you really want to get clean, it can help you. It's hard to do it without it. And once you start to wean off that, I'm not saying that's easy, but I did find it easier than just trying to get off the opiates itself. Um, so yeah, I did that shit for fucking years, and as I said, I'd wake up feeling like shit, fucking dry heaving, fucking brushing my teeth because fucking my gag reflex because I'm feeling nauseous. Have trouble sleeping. Like I said, you just run your whole life around this. I'll even tell this story. This is probably the most embarrassing story out of the whole bunch. Um, so one time, we had one car. My wife had the car, and I'm home alone, not feeling great. And one of my backup dealers, the one that had the oxy, sometimes the couple, um, they had stuff, but it was the summer. It was probably like 90 something degrees, and I had to walk probably like 45 minutes to get to them through the city. So I did, and I don't know, about halfway there, started not feeling well. So when you got withdrawals, your stomach don't feel great. Um, I got there, really not feeling great. Got the pills, took them as soon as I could, but they didn't kick in quick enough. And I literally, right before I got back to my place, I partially shit myself. Disgusting. I'm a fucking grown adult, but I was withdrawing so bad and I couldn't get home quick enough. And wasn't a lot. And trust me, it was liquidy. It was fucking gross. Like you just feel it like running down your leg. It was fucking disgusting. That's addiction. That's the fucking ugly part. It's fucking disgusting. Can't even tell you how many times. That's the only time that happened, but I can't tell you how many times I fucking threw up from being dope sick or fucking drive heaving. All that shit. They said kicking the sheets, the fucking bad decisions I made. Uh I mean, I got some stories. Like I said, I just don't know if my I don't know. Maybe I'll put this one on. I don't know. Like this. My older kids know most of this. We have one kid that's 14, doesn't know everything yet, so I get a little nervous because I don't know if he's gonna watch some of this. But I just heard the door, so um. But yeah, it's that went on and on and on. Actually, what we got here, peeps? Process about took 2 years from 60 milligrams. Oh, you're talking about the Suboxone. See, I have heard people say that, and I'm not saying they're good. They're not great, but I found the opiate withdrawals a lot worse. I remember I didn't even really feel the Suboxone ones. Um, it took a few days for it to really feel bad. With the opiates, it feels bad like right away. Like day one, you feel like shit. Morning one, you feel like shit. I remember Suboxone. I went the first couple days. I actually didn't feel too bad. Um, but I do think I think the tapering down is easier on that as well. Um, said not easy. The whole thing's not easy. I mean, God, the dream is I think rich people have something where they'll literally put you like in a fucking coma while you go through the withdrawals or some shit. They knock you out. I don't know. That's like the only way to do it, I guess. But other than that, it's gonna suck. But yeah, I do think they lie there because it takes a certain amount of time to get the shit out of your system, and they act like you're fine after that, and you're not. I mean, it takes like a good fucking year for you to feel right. I mean, months, at least months. Good day, Mister Monkhouse. Must be what I can't 11:23 a.m. where you are on the other side of the world in Australia, mate. Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna get back to it in a minute. I just I'm in the living room and I hear my son in the kitchen. So let me see. What can I talk about while I'm waiting for that? What stories can I tell? Oh, I can talk about the lying, stealing, and cheating and all that shit. This is how, like I said, I was one of the more honest ones. I actually had some morals. I felt bad, but I'll just tell you some of the fucked up shit I would do in my head, right? To try and justify some of this. I never felt right borrowing money and then using that money on drugs. So a lot of times I would borrow the money, spend that money on food or a bill, and then spend my own money on the drugs, and I would justify it that way. Which is weird, you know what I mean? You still borrowed the money, but as long as I borrowed it for something good, like food or, an electric bill or something like that. But really I did it so I could spend my own money on, the pills. Um I would even like if if I needed it for the drugs, I would even like suppose someone gives you like $40. I would literally deposit it into an ATM and take out a fresh 40. So it's like, well, it wasn't their money. Their money's in the ATM. That's fucking psycho shit, right? That's fucking warped. So just the stupid fucking shit I would do to try and justify myself. I sniffed blues and fucked up my teeth, and they're saying they got a class action against Suboxone for tooth loss. Yeah, for the yeah, I saw that. Yeah, just and peeps, and maybe you were, just make sure that the class action is only for name brand Suboxone. So if they put you on the generic, you can't sue. But if you put on name brand Suboxone, then you might be able to get involved in that. So good luck to you. By the blues, do you mean the Perk 30s? Is that what you mean by the blues? Um, those are my favorite. What's up, homie? Let's see. Oh, I did. Let me see. I did. What's it called? Fentanyl before it was like famous, but I did pharmaceutical fentanyl. Not this powder shit that's on the street. What I did was a 72-hour patch. Yeah, the 30s. That was my favorite. Um, that's the weird thing too. And Chris Peeps, you can probably attest to this. It's like even though they're all like opioids, opiates, they all feel a little different. You know, Percocet feels different from morphine, feels different from oxy, feels different from um Vicodin. You know, it all feels different. Feels different from those fucking Tylenol threes, which I fucking hated. Ugh. But the perks are my favorite, especially the 30s without the Tylenol and everything. Yep, I like that feeling the best. Like even more, I know Oxy was the big one. I give me a Perk 30 over an Oxy 30 any day. Anyway, um, yeah, there was this tattoo artist I met. Um, my I think my wife knew him. She gave, I don't know, might have been my wife's tattoo artist or something. I can't remember. He looked like he was on fucking heroin or something though. He just looked like one of the, super skinny, everything else sunken in. And he had these patches. Like I had no idea what fentanyl fucking was. This was years ago. God, had to be like 20 years ago. At least 20 years ago. Um, hey, young old vibes, good to see you. And yeah, there's these patches you put on your arm, and I think they're for like cancer patients or someone that's dying or someone with chronic fucking pain, and it releases fentanyl into your system for 3 straight days, like 72 hours. This and so the guy told me there's a gel inside the patch, like that's the fentanyl that gets in your system. Cut the patch open, eat a little bit of the gel, get fucked up. I was like, dude, I'm not eating fucking gel. So put the patch on. I was like, I'm gonna get fucked up for 3 straight days. Like that's what I was thinking. Um, because some people, like Peep said, some people snorted the shit. Um, I, believe it or not, was not big into it. I would snort the morphine. Because I didn't really care for the morphine anyway. So it was always like this time released, like I think it was like 80 milligrams, 60, whatever it was. Um, but so I would snort the morphine, but everything else I would swallow. Even the Perk 30s, I would swallow. For the most part. I mean, I have snorted them, but it wasn't my thing. I mean, you snort them, you get it all at once, so you get higher, but it doesn't last as long. I actually prefer the longevity. So anyway, I put the patch on. Remember the first time I got one, and I was landscaping, and it just didn't feel like hours went by, and I was dissatisfied. So I cut it open, ate some of the gel, tasted awful. By the way, it looks like there's hardly any gel in there. So very easy to take too much. I ended up taking the whole 72 hours worth in 24 hours, and holy shit, did I get sick! This was the closest ever to my second overdose. I was nodding, like I was losing consciousness and throwing up. And as I said, I was landscaping for some of this, and I just pretended that I was sick. My boss was naive to it. This was, you know, he would figure out I was an addict eventually, but not at this point. I mean, I remember I'm dumping, shit in the woods, and I'm just throwing up. I'm spreading mulch. and I'm just like I'm literally like nodding out in the fucking mulch. So yeah, that shit fucked me up. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I mean, it will fuck you up. I just wasn't the biggest fan of the feeling, and oh, it tasted so fucking bad. That fucking gel. Yeah, that's what I ended up doing. I ended up doing it, and I bought the patches off them a few more times, 2 or 3 more times, and I ate it every time because I tried wearing it once, and I think I was told later I was just impatient. Like eventually I would have, would have felt good, but it was just taking too long. Yeah, that gel is the devil. It tastes. Like I said, I probably haven't had that in fucking 20 20 something years, and I can still picture that fucking taste. It's so bad. Um, but yeah, so it was ironic. So when I heard fentanyl came out, like when it was this big epidemic, like that's what I was picturing. But no, because like I said, I had the farmer fent. This street fent with the powder. I mean, it looks like it's way more dangerous. Um, so yeah, lay off the fent. But I used to make the sick joke that like I did fentanyl before it was cool. But never cool. Never cool. Don't eat the gel. I don't even know if they make that shit anymore. Obviously there's the street fent, but I don't even know if they make them patches anymore. They probably do, but yeah, so I did those. Um I'm sure some of you might be wondering if I ever did the big H. I have. Never shot up. I did snort it a couple times. And that's what kind of got me to finally try and get sober because I'm like, oh, okay, there's only one step after this. I mean, besides like smoking it, I guess, which I didn't smoke. So I was like, the next step is the needle because like they got to the point where I was having trouble getting the pills. I was having trouble affording the pills. Unfortunately, H lasts a lot longer. You get more for your money. That shit would one line would fuck me up for a while. So I remember nodding out on that. Fuck. And no one wants to hear it, but I remember trying to have sex on that shit. Fucking hours and hours. Ended up with like a fucking rug burn on my dick because just like Karmic, just couldn't do it. That's why I think Karmic's either gay or he was on something. Um, but yeah. So once it got to that point, what's up, Chris Mack? How we doing? Was you a leper in a previous life? Not that I'm aware of, my friend. Not that I'm aware. And I wonder why I'm having heart. This is what's ironic, right? When I go to the cardiologist yesterday and it's like, do you smoke cigarettes? No. Have you ever smoked cigarettes? No. Well, I've had a cigarette, but did I ever smoke? No. Do you smoke marijuana? No. Do you drink? No. Like, no to fucking everything besides caffeine, coffee. So it's like trying to figure out what's wrong with me when I don't do any of this shit. It's like, maybe all the shit I did years ago, I don't know, fucked me up. Who the fuck knows? I have a scar on the side of my dick from banging. That's not where I thought this was going when I saw scar. I should have read it for banging a girl with a lopsided pussy lips for hours while on opiates. It gave me rug burn, and I just kept. Yeah, dude, I've had them nights on opiates. Had them nights on ecstasy. You just can't. Had them nights on even coke, but sometimes with the coke, uh, sometimes you had sometimes had trouble. Woo, sometimes I was at half mast during the coke. Um, shit's funny looking back. Uh, yeah, like I said, I have stories like that. I'm just careful what I'm gonna say. um, but yeah, I'm gonna skip some. Not that nobody wants to hear the sex stories anyway. So there's some crazy ones in there, but nobody nobody wants to hear those. I want to sound like John. I'm fucking in my 40s. I'm not gonna be telling these fucking stories. Yep, dope dick, dude. Yep. Um, I can tell this story just because it's kind of funny. I ended up in this relationship, not my wife, the girl. So when I met my wife, first time I met my wife, we dated for like 6 months, 8 months, something like that. Broke up, you know. I saw a few girls after that. I'm sure she saw a couple guys or whatever. And we ended up getting back together. And then, been together ever since, married, and blah, blah, blah. But I was with another woman, living with another woman when ran back into my wife, started dating her again. I ended up leaving this woman to go back with what would become with my wife. So the woman I was with, um, when I got back with my wife, that relationship only happened because I had dope dick. Um, she would have been my one and only one night stand that's what it been. I met her at a bar, and I remember it was me, her, and this old lady talking and having a good time. The old lady was funny, then the old lady left, so it was just us two. Got shit faced. Ended up going to some other bar. Ended up going back to my apartment, and about halfway through, boo, dope dick. And I didn't want her to think that I had issues there because I didn't. It was just drugs and alcohol. So she spent the night, exchanged numbers. I went on a second date with her. Uh, Second date, right? She ends up inviting her. It's me and her. Then she invites her friend over for some fucking reason. Um, I guess because we like still hardly knew each other. Her friend was a fucking stripper. Her friend looked like Carrie Underwood, but with tattoos. Um, and she stripper. She dated scumbag, so she was dating some club promoter. So, me and the girl I was dating were at this bar, and her friend shows up with this club promoter, and they want to leave as that place is closing to go into the city to go to another bar. So the whole thing was like I was gonna have to run home, change into dress clothes to go to some club that was gonna close like an hour after we got there. So I'm like, I'm fucking good. I'm just going home. The girl I was dating was like, come on, come on. She's like, I can't let my friend go by herself. I'm like, just go. And so I went home, passed out. 7 in the morning, someone's knocking on my fucking windows. It's that girl I was dating. She ended up going to that club with her friend, and her friend's boyfriend, club promoter boyfriend there, ended up drugging my girl. I don't know what they gave her, ecstasy, something, drugged her. So then she ended up all fucked up in my place. I had to bring her home, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, then finally, like, I think on the third date, we ended up banging proper. And then it literally turned into a relationship, and I ended up living with her for a little bit, but only because I didn't want her to think that I couldn't get it up on what would have just been a one night stand. So sometimes dope dick can turn into a multi-month relationship. Um, if you want to prove your manhood. So yeah, that was probably didn't tell the story very well, but basically met a girl at a bar, went to another bar, went home. I was so fucked up, couldn't perform, so I saw her a few more times just to like show her I could perform, and we ended up dating and even moving in together and shit. So um if I performed, I think it just would have been a one night stand. But yeah. Anyway, you gotta prove that it works. Peeps knows what I'm talking about. Um, all right. Fuck, I don't even remember where the hell I was in this. Doing a bunch of opiates. Too many. Got onto the H. Not a bunch of times. A couple times. Um, but like I said, that started to scare me because what do we got here? This is why I didn't talk to addicts. Sorry, buddy. Um, well, addicts will fucking when they're using, they'll feed you all kinds of fucking stories, bro. Yeah, I even remember the first few years when I was getting sober. I noticed a lot of people. I remember my brother and a couple other people always looked like they were looking in my eyes to see if my pupils were like pinned or something. Just to make sure I wasn't like relapsed. Like no one's done that in fucking forever. I think everyone, uh, knock on wood, fully trusts me at this point. 14 years. I mean, you never. I don't want to say never. You never know, but I feel pretty good about it. At this point, but yeah, it like I said, I got a bunch of fuck. Here's one. I guess one of the last drugs I did um was that fucking, and it was right when it first came out. That fucking, what do they call it? That fucking zombie shit. That fucking bath salts. That shit. Holy fuck. Oh, there was a head shop near here where I lived at the time. Uh, it was like half the place was like a porn shop. They had fucking porno and fucking sex toys. I mean, they had the fucking straight up dildo vibrators. Then they had the fucking kinky shit, the fucking ball gags and the fucking leather suits and all that. And then the other side of the place was like, bongs. They literally sold those fucking cocaine. They look like little fucking little fire hydrant things. You put coke in them and then you turn it, goes right up your nose, so you can take coke with you to like a concert or a ball game or whatever. Um, I remember even buying one at one point, but I remember being in there and someone's like to the cashier, like, "What's that for?" And the cashier's like, "If you don't know, you don't need it." But yeah, they when bath salts first became a thing, they fucking sold them there, and I tried it. It was called like White Girl was the brand or something, and oh, that shit. That's gotta be the closest thing to fucking meth I ever did. I'll tell you what drove me nuts. We had the first time I did it, right? Um, I did it with a guy at work, and then I went home and I can't fucking sleep. And I didn't want my wife to know I was all fucked up. So I just stayed in the living room on the couch trying to fall asleep like I'm watching a movie. And we had I don't remember the brand, but we had this thing that would shoot air freshener like every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever the fuck it was. Say every 10 minutes it would like shoot like a puff of fucking air freshener into the air. Every time it did it, I fucking jumped like 50 feet. I was like, and I fucking know it's coming, and I'd fucking jump. It would startle the fucking shit out of me. Damn, Nick, you've been through some shit. Yeah, dude. I like I said, I even got some stories. I just don't even want to fucking. I do want to tell, but I don't want to tell the Dabbleverse. Um, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll tell someone you're on the side. I forget some of the shit I've done. Um, what we got here? They tested the COVID vaccine on Nick for giving it to the public. Yeah, I didn't care for that shit. That shit fucks up your dick too. Your dick ain't gonna work on that stuff. I'll tell you that. It's too bad too because it makes you horny as fuck. But it fucks you. It turns you into a fucking retard. That's why those Florida people were like eating each other, eating their faces off like fucking zombies and shit. Um, yeah, man, fuck. That was the last thing I ever did, like as a drug, and that shit was like sold over the counter. That shit was legal. Because you weren't supposed to use it as a drug. It's supposed to be a bath salt, but really, I think it was just a couple molecules off from like fucking meth or something like that. Um, I did. I wish I could remember. I've done Adderall. Um, I like that. There was some other speed I did way back in the day, actually before I was even an addict. Um, it was really good. There was a guy I was landscaping with who was an ex heroin addict. He was a heroin addict like in the fucking 80s and 90s and shit, right? Um, so he had a friend who used to be a heroin addict and now she had cancer. And they had to give her so much morphine because her tolerance was fucking through the roof, from all the heroin and shit she did. And so they had to prescribe her. This was the story I was told. Who the fuck knows if it's true looking back? But she was also prescribed this fucking speed to keep her functioning because she had to be on too much fucking morphine. So she would sell that shit. And that shit was fucking awesome. Way better than fucking Adderall. I don't remember what the fuck it was called. They probably don't even make it anymore. This was like very early 2000s. This was like literally 2000, 2001. So 25 years ago. Um, yeah, and take one of those, yeah, maybe sometimes two, and fucking, I could landscape fucking 20 straight hours and have the time of my life. Shit was fucking awesome. Whatever, like, not only did it give you energy, it put you in a fucking good mood. Like fucking landscaping was fun. I just don't know what the fuck it was called, man. I can't remember. Is that what they call it down there? It's fucking weirdos. They will prescribe you like 10 times the normal dosage if you already have an opioid tolerance from, yeah, okay. So Chris, that part I believed. I just didn't know if they were really prescribing her the speed to keep her like awake and functioning and shit. I don't know, but she was prescribed this speed for some reason. Um what was it called? Maybe, man. It was like a capsule. It was like brown and white or black and white. Like one side was white. You know, the capsule's like two different colors usually. The other side was like black or brown. Maybe I can, if I see the guy's still alive that I got it from. We got it a few times, right? And I remember one time we got it. Um, we stopped landscaping early because it started to fucking rain. And Chris, you're from Mass, so we had to go into. I think she lived in Framingham or Natick. And so we went in there, and the dude I'm with, the ex heroin addict, he's got a Jeep, this old, not Jeep, sorry, van, this old gray fucking van. And one of the fucking windshield wipers would sometimes work, sometimes wouldn't. Like it gets stuck, so you'd have to like fucking bang on the fucking dash to get it to work. And it's raining, and it stopped working. He's fucking hitting it. So he's literally, we're driving in the rain to Framingham to buy fucking the speed or whatever it is, and he's got his head out the fucking window because he can't see from through the fucking windshield. Like, dude, the shit you do, man. I mean, I remember one time dropping pills on a fucking public bathroom fucking floor and still took them. I cleaned them with fucking. I couldn't get them wet, obviously, but I cleaned them with paper towels and like I'd spend money on these. I was gonna be sick without them. I probably got sick from fucking whatever was on the bathroom floor, but yeah, just the shit you like. No normal person would do that under normal circumstances. Dictionary is a pharmaceutical methamphetamine. Dude, it could be. Oh, I actually, dude, narcolepsy. It's funny you brought that up. All right. Here's something else I once did. Um, do you remember the Belco steroid scandal? Belco was the company. I think it was in San Diego, San Francisco. They're the ones that gave like Barry Bonds as PEDs, Mark McGuire, all those Olympic people. Like a book came out on the scandal, and it was a really good fucking book. Um, I bought the book when it came out, and I'm reading it, and they named some drug that some sprinter would take, and it was something they would give people with narcolepsy. It wasn't that speech; it was something else, right? Um, and I looked it up online, and you could buy it from some other country, like in fucking Africa or something, whatever. I literally, because for legality reasons on their end, obviously what I did was completely illegal, but I couldn't do credit card payments or whatever. I can't. It was I either mailed them a fucking. I don't think I mailed them a money order. I think I fucking Western Unioned it, some shit like that. And then I had the hope that they sent me the shit, and they fucking did. And stuff was pretty good. It wasn't as good as that speed that probably the one you're talking about, Chris. That's probably the one we got. That the cancer lady had. It wasn't as good as that, but it wasn't bad. But yeah, I literally wired money to another fucking country, and they fucking sent it to me. because it was legal in their country. It probably wasn't legal to send it, but yeah, I forgot all about that. I only did it once because I got nervous and I liked it, but not enough to try it again. Um, but yeah, I think I was in my opiate addiction by then anyway, so it was kind of like doing like two in one there. Um, Holy shit! What are the druggy stories do I have? Got a lot of coke stories, but I was never addicted to that. That was like a party drug for me. Um, Got in a fight in the fucking men's room on that shit once. Some dudes, I don't even know who she was, but some dude's girl came in the fucking men's room with us, and nothing happened. But she came in to do the coke, and her boyfriend came in and went fucking ballistic. And I don't blame the dude. I would have been fucking bullshit too. I was trying to tell him nobody was doing nothing with her, but like I said, I probably would have fucking flipped out too. Um, Anyway, no, shouldn't really talk about the party drugs. Should get back to the addiction. So, um, yeah, I got to the point where I was doing dabbling in the H. I know. So here's where it gets kind of deep and a little depressing, but um, not depressing, good and bad. So I had already had 2 kids when I first got addicted. I was sober when they were born and when they were, like, young, and I got addicted when they were kids. Um, we had our 3rd child while I was addicted, and I was trying to quit when my wife was pregnant. I kept failing, tried to quit, um, after he was born and everything, really struggled, and finally there was a day where, um I yeah, we needed something, diapers, fucking something, and I was literally I tried to get pills instead or whatever, and I couldn't get them. Thank God. But I was so disgusted with myself. I mean, I got the diapers and everything, but I literally tried to get the pills. I was like, I gotta get clean. Um, I literally after I tried getting the pills, I called my wife, and this was like you lie so much when you're addicted, and it was like the first time like I was probably ever honest, and I was like, I can't stop. I need help. And then one of the big issues is I was always the breadwinner. As I said earlier, I don't want to get into my wife's shit, but she always had like anxiety issues. She's very social, but she has like she once had a job where she had panic attacks, and she said it felt like literally like she was in a dream state. It was an out of body experience. Um, she worked for this company that she took phone calls for like catalogs or whatever, and they could take the orders. But if there was an issue or complaint, you had to get like a manager, and there would be like one manager for like every fucking 50 people. And so she constantly had to put people on hold. They get mad, and she literally was having like panic attacks. Um, My wife's very good at doing nails, so she does people's nails on the side now. She's a nail artist and everything. So she does that part-time, but she always had some part she had one job where she worked at a property management company. She really loved that job. She's very good at it. It just sucked that her mother was the office manager. My mother-in-law, that's a whole other story. Fucking nightmare, but of course they would clash. Anyways, my mother-in-law ended up getting fired and shit. And then my wife like kind of quit in solidarity, and she always regretted it. Um, but for the most part, my wife was a stay-at-home mom that would have side gigs, doing the nails, working for the answering phones for the catalog. Um, even now, like I said, she does nails, and she'll do some like Uber and Lyft part time. But she's like a 5'1", 100-pound woman. It's kind of scary. But anyway, I was the breadwinner so I couldn't go to rehab for like months and months. Um, I had the full-time job, big tech company, all our benefits were through me. and I even had the part-time job landscaping. So I had to try and do outpatient because, like I just if I left, my company has short-term and long. I think they had long-term, whatever it's called back then, uh, disability or I don't whatever. But you only get 2/3 of your pay. So not only would I not have the landscape money coming in because I have to work, there's no vacation time or anything for that, but I only be getting 2/3 of my pay on my full-time job. So I just couldn't do it. Um, so I had to. Here we go. Hey Nick, congrats on 14 years. Tremendous accomplishment. Lots to be proud of. Thank you, my friend. Check out check out Christian here. Check him out on Who Are These Broadcasters and on Blackcast. Does a great job. Um, just a quick true story. Since I have the political show called Dabbling in Politics, that all derived from a one-off political roundtable called Dabbling in Politics, which was created by JJ Dabbles. But in my opinion, the real hero of that thing was Christian Blatt, who pretty much moderated the whole thing, took control, and made it a great thing. Thank you, Matt. Yeah, it's it's funny. It is a leave of absence, but in my company they call it like short-term disability and long-term disability. It's funny because on your check, because you pay into it, it's called STD. That's how they put it on the fucking pay stub, short-term disability. So that's why, but it is like a leave of absence. But yeah, it only pays like 67% of your pay, so that was not going to be enough to live on. We were barely getting by on 100% of my pay with the part-time job on top of it. So without the part-time job at all, and only 67% of the full-time job, it just wasn't going to work. So thankfully, my brother was dating someone at the time who was also a friend of mine. She was on my our softball team and everything. I mean, they broke up years ago. My brother was even engaged to somebody else since then. But at the time, her mother and her sister worked for a doctor who did that shit. He was a regular doctor. You could get him as your primary, but he also had the special. You need a special like license or certificate, whatever, to prescribe Suboxone. So I wanted to try and get clean that way, and I wanted to do one of those doctors because there are plenty of. I didn't want to get on no methadone clinic because they just try and keep you on those things. And methadone is actually something I did on the street too. Never the drink, the pills. And every time I did the pills, I threw up. It was literally the only drug where I fucking got sick like every fucking time. So I wanted nothing to do with that. Um, I wanted to try the Suboxone. I had Suboxone, that's something I could get off and on um, if I was dope sick, and it would really help, especially once you get prescribed it, you get used to it. But when you're only doing it now and then, like literally, like a pill or a strip, whatever, was like 8 milligrams. Sometimes I would literally get like 2 milligrams. Someone would give me like a corner, and it would help me like throughout the whole day back then. So I wanted to get on that. So they were supposed to have an appointment for me on it was Friday, September. I'm trying to remember I always remember what day I got sober because it was 9911, September 9th, 2011. So this would have been a couple days before that. It would have been the 6th, I think. And I was supposed to go after work. My friend's girlfriend was going to take me up there right after work. Ironically, when you get on that shit, they literally piss test you, and you have to test positive for opiates. So it's like I had an excuse to get some Percocets. Um, and she picks me up, and she's like, the guy was supposed to squeeze me in special right after, like, I didn't have an appointment. He was going to squeeze me in at the end of the day. She picks me up, and he's like, bad news, he can't do it today. He'll do it Monday. But your brother and I want to take you somewhere. We don't want you using blah blah blah. So they took me to like the local ER, and they did nothing for me. The nurse was nice. The lady that checked me in was nice. The doctor was like a dick. He's like, "What do you want from me?" Blah blah blah. He couldn't obviously prescribe Suboxone. He couldn't do nothing. He gave me some pill that they use for like acid reflux disease, and he's like, "Yeah, some people have said it helps with withdrawals and blah blah blah." And I wasn't even going through withdrawals because I took Percocet that day because I was wanted had the piss positive, and I had gone a couple of days without anything at the time. Um, so I remember thinking this was awesome. I can stop being dope sick, and then I'm going to get prescribed Suboxone and get sober, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I was in the they finally let me go. I had to get through the weekend. And that Monday, they took me to the doctor. I can't remember his name. He was like an Indian guy or Pakistani guy, whatever, in Marlborough, Massachusetts. I'm sure Chris Mack knows where that is. Um, and I met I met the main guy, and I ended up under one of the second some female doctor who was very nice. So how it started, you go, well, you piss, you tell your story, you piss positive um for opiates, and then they give you a week's worth of Suboxone to start. I think when you do methadone, you got to go every day for a while. Suboxone, it's prescribed. So they gave me 7 days worth. They were going to start me on 8 milligrams. I ended up having to go up to 16. They're like, you might need more. We just don't want to start you off, more than you need. So anyway, I started off. They gave me the week's worth, and United Healthcare had United Healthcare at the time. Uh, and they kept fighting to pay for it. God bless. I'm not going to say it, but I understand what not Luigi Greenberg, Luigi Mangione did. It's the second time I said Luigi Greenberg. Anyway, so I had to pay full price out of pocket for the fucking script. Well over $100. Now it would be like, I don't even know what the fuck it would be now. It'd probably be fucking like $500. Um, and then I went back a week later. You have to test positive for Suboxone and nothing else. Oh, you have to get counseling too. I had to go to counseling meetings as well with a therapist. Um, uh, um, I know therapy helps a lot of people. I'd never knock it. Um, it didn't do a lot for me, but obviously I do what I had to do. It might help me in other aspects in life, but I was pretty determined at this point to get sober. So I don't think I needed it as much, but yeah, so I had to go, and then of course, insurance company fucked me again. This went on for like 3 weeks, and I'd have to go back to the doctor, and I'm like, what do you guys going on? And the reception is like, Nick, it's the insurance company. They ask for every time you say we got rejected, they ask us to send them certain documents. I send them what they want. Then the next week they reject it and they want other documents. They basically, United Healthcare wanted me to give up. I didn't give up. Finally got them to pay for it, but it was the first 3 weeks I had to pay out of pocket, full with the script. And I mean, I did it because either that or I was going to get street drugs. So even though it cost me, it was a ripoff, it probably still saved me money in the long run. So anyway, I think it was either 3 or 4 times I had to go weekly, and once everything was fine, I'm pissing positive for that, negative for everything else. They bumped it up to 2 weeks, so it was 2 weeks for a while, and then it was supposed to go to 3 weeks, but they cut me a break and they cut it to 4 weeks. So I skipped the 3 weeks and went up to 4 weeks. So I started getting it monthly. And then after a while, they got to the point where they're like, all right, let's try and wean you down and get you off of it. So then the wean started. And, that's a gradual thing. And as Peep said, when you finally get down to the low end, it's no picnic. But I personally thought it was easier than the opiates. Not easy, by any means. But to me, the withdrawals weren't as bad as opiates. But and yeah, and then it's been 14 years um to the day. So what do we got here? Allegedly, once I allegedly had to pay for alleged counterfeit alleged money to pay for the script shit wasn't cheap. Ooh, counterfeit, buddy. Good for you. I still remember my first day at that doctor. Um and some, like I said, it's a funny place because it's not like a clinic where everybody's there for that. It was some people are there. That's their primary. They're there for their physical. They're there getting their cholesterol checked, all that shit. And then the other half are there because they're addicts and they're getting Suboxone, and then the doctor's making sure you're doing your counseling and everything. And the first day I went was also the first day for this other guy. And when he found out he was only getting a week's worth and had to come back the next week, he was pissed. And he's like, copays like $25, the script's like whatever with the insurance. And this guy's bitching that I got to pay every week. And I'm like, dude, how much were you paying for drugs? Like I'm an addict too, bro. Like that $25 would get you like one perk 30 on the street. You know what I mean? And you're complaining that you're getting a script of 7-day script of Suboxone that would have cost you the same as one pill. It's like you got to earn trust, man. And when you're an addict, you're not the most trustworthy fucking person. So we gotta, you know, we have to earn the trust of doctors and nurses and counselors and everything. Um. Anyway, so yeah, that, like I said, there's more to my story. I don't know. Maybe I'll tell more if I feel more comfortable. Like there's, I told the overdose story. I told a few stories. The eating the gel, doing some H. I didn't really tell the stories on that. I can tell you the couple I got that from were a fucking disaster. Um, they were probably my parents' age, and you can tell they had fucking partied their whole fucking lives. My wife actually went to school with the son of the woman. Um, and she was always fucked up. And I even heard one time that the boyfriend had to call an ambulance for her. She must have overdosed or something. And they literally found human feces in their, they lived in like in a duplex, half a duplex, uh, human feces around the fucking place. I don't know what the fuck they were doing in there. I'd only been in there once or twice. They weren't human feces when I was there, so things must have really went fucking downhill for them. But yeah, and that's something else with addiction. You end up hanging with people you would never fucking hang with just because they have something you want, and you fucking need, so you don't get sick or whatever. Like these people were scum. Some people weren't bad. Like I'll even tell you the lady that was the crack addict who I used to buy the Percocets off of. She was actually a very nice lady. She just obviously her drug. Like I try not to judge people. Like people like, oh my god, crackhead, meth head. It's like they get shit on worse than someone like me who like opiate, like even like heroin. Like you get the meth heads in the meth and crack seem to get shit on more than anybody. Look down upon, whatever you want to call it. I try not to do that. Drug's a drug. That just happened what they got addicted to. Just so happened she was addicted to crack when I was addicted to opiates and stuff. So yeah, she was very nice. It started to get a little dangerous dealing with her only because she started working for one of the big crack dealers in the city. Like she showed me a picture on her phone. Like, yeah, here's a guy that ripped her off, and he's all bloodied up because her boss fucking kicked the shit out of him. And when I'd have to buy from her, a lot of times she'd pick me up, and we do it in the car. And she's got crack on her. She's making deals. I don't know if other drug dealers are going to come after her because her dealer's beating dudes up. I don't know if fucking I'm going to get shot. So yeah, it started to get a little scary. So I didn't want to. It wasn't her I was afraid of or anything. Like I said, she was very nice, but the company she was keeping was dangerous, and of course, uh, drug dealers have enemies. Of other drug dealers are their enemies. The police are always on the lookout for them. So that got a little wild. Trying to think of other stories I got. I should have prepped. I should have like sat there and tried to think of you know handful of the fucked up shit I did. Um, and I got an interesting one. I just can't. It's not crazy. It's just I don't know. Yeah, no, I can't tell it. Another time. Like I said, I don't know who's gonna watch this. um, I don't know. Maybe I'll start wrapping it up. What do we have? Like, yeah, a little over 90 minutes. That's fucking good. That's good. I do feel a little better. So hopefully I'll start getting used to this fucking hot medication. Um, anyway, want to thank you guys for stopping by. It's fucking late. I appreciate you guys. It was appreciate the questions, appreciate the comments. Um, I will say this: if there is anybody out there watching live, or if you watch this later, if you have issues with substance abuse, my DMs are wide open these days. Um, Message me anytime. I will mum's the word. I won't say a fucking word to anybody. If you want advice, if you just want someone to vent to, if you want help, I can try and get you help. I mean, it's been a long time since I got help, but I could, if you don't feel comfortable making the calls yourself, I have no problem trying to call rehabs for somebody, or hospitals or anything like that. Um, I've gotten some loved ones in some inpatient things. Usually, you go to the hospital first, and they'll set you up at a at a rehab center. Up here, they do it weird. Like I know someone who got flown out to Florida for one, California. They try and get you out of the city. They try and get you out of like New England, because they're afraid you can get drugs. They want to send you somewhere where you don't fucking know anybody. Um, but yeah, just I want to tell people, don't fucking beat yourselves up. I I don't agree with everything the professionals do. I'll tell you right now, I am not a big NAAA guy. Some people like that. I got fucking nothing out of that shit. I used to go to NA for a while. Um, but if it helps you, do it. But one of the big things I'm not a fan of is like if you screw up, it's like you start back at zero. And I think that discourages a lot of people. Like suppose you're sober for fucking 3 years. Then you fuck up one day, and now it's like, all right, you've been sober for you know 3 years and a day out of the last 3 years and 2 days. You know what I mean? It's like suppose you're sober 3 years, fuck up, and then you're sober for 2 more years, right? And you get to that point, and it's like you have 2 years sober. Really, you have 5 fucking years except for one day. You should be able to say, yeah, I got 5 years with a hiccup or something like that. Like I don't know, it just people I think they get penalized too much for like one. Now, on the other hand, I don't want to be used as an excuse where you can get a shitload of hiccups, but I'm just saying like one or two fucking hiccups. Like it's fucking hard, man. Everyone, it's when I try and help people, it's like I sometimes I try it. I don't want to. I don't want people to think I don't care because I'll go like times where I don't ask how you're doing because I don't want to put pressure on you in case you slipped up, or if you're making progress, right? Like sometimes people will be making progress and they'll tell me like, oh, I'm doing good. I'm down to this and that, and then they don't say anything for a while, and I just don't ask because I'm figuring, well, maybe they went back up, maybe they stay where they same. I don't want to put pressure on people. I know it's not fucking easy. Everyone's got their own path. It's fucking hard, but I will support anyone that wants to help because I know how fucking hard it is. Like I said, I tried. so many times to do it by myself, and I would pretty much get there and then sometimes and still fuck up and get back, back into that hellhole. So yeah, it's worth getting sober. If I can do it, anyone can fucking do it. You can do it. I don't know. Maybe I'll do another one of these at some point. I'll like. There's so much more I can tell. I just didn't plan it out, and there's certain, like I said, there's certain things I don't want to say. So I don't know. Maybe somewhere down the line I'll do another where I will plan out what I'm going to talk about. This is just more ad lib, but anyway, it was fun. I just wanted to do something live and get it out there, and I can't thank you guys enough for showing up. Like I said, I just thought of this the other day, and I pushed it off several times tonight. Didn't even know if I was going to do it for reasons. Didn't feel too well. See what Matt's saying before we get out of here. On the real, I've been off opiates since July of 2018. Congratulations, Matt. Seriously, brother. But I've actually had to take narco for oral surgery and codeine cough syrup when I had COVID, but it doesn't have a hold on me anymore. Congratulations, brother. I mean, that's the other tough part, right? It's like, I always wonder, right? Suppose I have to have like an operation or something and they got to give me whatever, Vicodin, Percocet. I don't know what I would do. Depends on the pain. If it's bad enough, I'd give it to my wife to hold. But then it's like, am I not sober if I take that as prescribed? Like, I don't even know how that works. But hopefully, it won't get to that. That's my big fear, is because I have had lots. I've had multiple surgeries, and I mean, you literally need that shit for surgery because the pain is bad. So I worry about that. I've been able to. Haven't had to have a surgery since I've gotten sober, but I had a handful before that. So that's my worry. But yeah, dude, if you needed that and it was directed to you and you didn't abuse it, to me, you man, you're still sober since 2018, brother. Because you did what normal people do. You know, you took what was prescribed to you, and that was it because you needed it. So congratulations, man. That's what I mean. I there's a bunch of people in the Dabbleverse who are doing great. Um, and I'm sure there's some people that are struggling. So that's why I want to get this out there. Um, I'm if people feel more comfortable with Matt, I don't want to advertise for him, but he's a trustworthy guy too. But yeah, again, DMs wide open. Even if you just want to be able to vent to somebody, I don't say shit. Um, honestly, I would never. Mum's the word. Or like I said, if you want advice or help. I should have done more on the help aspect of it, but I was just telling stories and telling my gradual story and then telling a handful of things that happened, trying to find a little humor in it. But um, I don't think I mentioned enough how many times I did try to get sober, cold turkey, on my own, and just failed. I did it once early on and then fucked up right after that. So it's very hard. No, it's ironic because only you can get yourself sober. When you get sober, you fucking did it, man. But also, you can't do it alone either. It's fucking really hard to do it alone. Um, even if you do go cold turkey, you need a support group because it's hard. Like I said, those days last long, and you don't feel right for fucking months and months. But anyway, enough of that shit. Congratulations to everyone else, to Matt and everyone else who's sober out there. Um, and for anyone out there that's going through and you peeps and everyone else, and anyone else that's going through a daily struggle, keep going at it, man. You can fucking do it. Throwing fucking bricks. You know it, buddy. What's up, King of all diffs? You just caught the end of it, pal. Sorry. Heading out. Um, just told my addiction sobriety story, but good to see you, King of all diffs. Thanks for stopping by. Um, yeah, like I said, maybe I'll do another one of these down the line and tell more stories. Like I said, I haven't even really scratched the surface. I just have to, number one, I got to remember some of them, and two, I got to pick through and try and tell which stories I can tell and which ones I don't really want to tell. Well, actually, which ones I can't tell. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. It's amazing. It's amazing. I don't know. Yeah, I'm fuck it. I keep almost saying something and then stopping myself. Like yeah, you probably are the lucky one, king of all diffs. I probably bore people, but everyone here is fucking awesome. Always appreciate the fucking support. I was never in Antifa. I can tell you why I was called Antifa Mumbling Nick. Um, I was originally just called Mumbling Nick, and a baseball player started copying my accounts, and so I would change them. I mean, that's why I'm OG Mumbling Nick now. I kept changing it, and so I changed it to Antifa Mumbling Nick at one point, partly because I used to wear the same kind of balaclava like mask that Antifa wears, and there was a second reason that I told Def, but it's kind of like it's almost like too much information. But yeah, there was a second reason, but I was never ever in Antifa. Um, I think you know. I know you're joking anyway, but yeah, I was never in Antifa. I could tell my protest stories sometimes. I showed Eckel a picture how I was only in one violent protest ever, and I got kind of fucked up. My eyes were all swollen. Maybe I'll cover that someday. But no, this was addiction. Anyway, I've been saying goodbye for like 10 minutes. All right, thanks again, everybody. Appreciate you all. I don't know. Maybe I'll go live later this week. If not, I will Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be doing Between Two Hacks with Echo Pineapple on his channel. And Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on OG Mumbling Nick. Per usual, I will be doing Dabbling in Politics with my co host, Liquid Cryptid. And yeah, since today's Tuesday, hopefully I can squeeze off one more something in here before. Oop, sorry, wrong one. Actually, I'm sorry, I missed the story. Hey, King of all diffs, man. I wish you were here earlier. If you want, I mean, go back and watch it, man. But I'll tell you, me- message me anytime. No joke, dude. No joke. All right. Um, if I can help you, I'd be more than happy to try and help, brother. I got help. That's something I can tell you. I mean, during this, I mentioned my brother's girlfriend and her mother at the time helped me out, but obviously my brother helped me out. Oh, one more thing before I leave. Can't believe I forgot to say this. So, um, I brought up how there's addiction in my father's side. Like almost everybody, besides one of my aunts, was addicted to at least alcohol, if not drugs as well. Um, so my father was an alcoholic, um, and he died at 57 of pancreatic cancer. But 2 days ago, September 7th, would have been his 70th birthday, and I do want to say one of the I miss my dad. My dad would have loved. I mean, obviously, he would have loved all his grandkids, but he's had one born. But one of my nephews was born after he died. But my youngest son is so much like my dad into horror and shit. My dad would have loved it. It sucks because my dad died before he even turned 2. But one of the great things is my dad, like I said, he battled alcoholism his whole life. He helped me. He was the one that would drive me to a lot of my counseling appointments and to my doctor's appointments when I was getting the Suboxone. Yeah, I've told some people this. My wife and I, a lot of times we only have like one car, and it was, she'd be dealing with the kids or doing her part-time job. So a lot of times my dad was the one that would drive me, and he would pass away. Um, what, 5 months after I got sober. Um, but I'm glad he got to see me get sober, and I'm really glad that I got to spend those car rides with him. Um, from work, he'd pick me up at work and take me to my doctor's appointments and to counseling. So I'm not religious. Don't really believe in all the heaven and hell stuff, but if I'm wrong, love you, Dad, and thank you for all that. Like I said, I'm glad. Like I said, I'm really glad you got to see me get sober, and I'm very thankful that he helped me. So, and a lot of people helped me, but anyway, that's it. Thank you guys. Till next time. Peace. Hey, ladies of the Dabbleverse, I'm good at eating pussies.
Mumbling Nick in the back room, Clary. Cool pineapples rules, too strength to bear. It's the C-scent kick, you've got some flair. Time to break the chains and take the air. I will try my best, won't let it rest. With a mic in hand, I'll ace this test. From the shadows to the limelight's crest, I will try my best. Yeah, I'll try my best. Yeah, I'll try my best. Nick's voice stumbles, but the words ignite. In the chaos, truth takes flight. No more scripts, no boss in sight. He's got his dream, he'll do it right. I will try my best, won't let it rest. With a mic in hand, I'll ace this test. From the shadows to the limelight's crest, I will try my best. Yeah, I'll try my best. Yeah, I'll try my best. Nick's voice stumbles, but the words ignite. In the chaos, truth takes flight. No more scripts, no boss in sight. He's got his dream, he'll do it right. I will try my best, won't let it rest. With a mic in hand, I'll ace this test. From the shadows to the limelight's crest, I will try my best. Yeah, I'll try my best. Interviews roll, stories unfold. Mumbling no more, his voice turns bold. Mr. C cheers from the sidelines cold. Ain't no pineapple left in the cold. Now the studio's his, the future bright. Nick's own podcast is guiding light. No more whispers, his tone takes flight. He's soaring now with all his might. Yeah!
Taz, if you want me to go down on you, I will. I'll try my best.